I want to discuss a little bit more about the simulation results. So I'm going to go back in here and get rid of this second stream. Okay, and I want the first stream seed. I want to set it at 100. Okay, and I'm going to change the uh, entity arrival. So let's get rid of the stream number. We don't need stream number anymore. Processing. Get rid of stream number. Okay. Now there is one more thing about stream number I forgot to mention, and that is you can select reset to yes or no. So no is the default. Now if you set yes, then after every iteration the stream will be set to the original seed. See, otherwise after first iteration is completed, the second iteration the stream will simply continue. It won't go back to the starting point because that's what we want. We don't want, if you every time go back to the starting point, then you get exactly the same result for every iteration. Yeah. So you really don't want all your streams to be set to yes, in which case you get the same result every iteration. So there may be some processes where you want the same stream to be or same random numbers to be generated for a particular process, and the others will be will generate different stream of numbers for different iterations. So that's another thing that we could do. All right. So now I set it to 100. Now I run the simulation. Okay. And I'm going to say no here because I've already copy pasted some of these results in Word document. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Actually I ran 50, so this should be 50. I'll insert a corrected screenshot. Okay, so these are the tables that we discussed this in a previous video. Okay, so here I have copy pasted some screenshots. So we have total number of customers served coming from the scoreboard average reps output, so 49.56. All right. So how many customers actually entered the system? So 49.56 is the total number of customers exited who've been served. And to look at how many people actually entered the bank, we need to look at the waiting line. So the waiting line, 54.34 people came in. So 54.34 customers came into the bank, and we have failed arrivals 9.32. So if you sum these two, so you get the total customers, well, actually arriving at the entrance, okay, of which 54.34 really entered the bank, 9.32 didn't enter. They left seeing that the waiting line is too long. So we can compute service level by dividing the actual number of people who entered by the total number of customers who arrived. So that would be 85.36%. Now average waiting time for customers who have been served, who've exited the system. Okay, so you can look at that. Well, if you look at entity state, you see that 81.51% of the time they were blocked, so which means they were waiting. And here we have average time in the system for customers who have exited, okay, and then average time in operation is 2.39. So the difference is the time. So here, if you look at the entity summary table, you see that average time in operation, so which is that, and then you have average time blocked in minutes. So 11.29 minutes is the average time blocked. Okay, now average length of waiting line. Okay, you need to go to the waiting line summary. So capacity, and then waiting time per entry. Okay, so this is for people who are still in the wait. It includes people who are still in the waiting line. So which is average content is 4.7, and right now there are 4.7 current customers as well, but the average length is 4.7 customers. The average waiting time for customers, including the ones in the bank, so that will be 10.36. Now percentage of time the waiting line is empty, so here you look at multi-state capacity, multi-capacity states. So full is 16.61%, empty is 4.23%. And then if you look at single capacity, which is teller, and then you see percentage of operation is 98.83%. So that's the utilization of the teller windows. Which there is only one teller, and that teller is busy 98.83% of the time. So that's probably the reason why we have so many failed arrivals and people waiting more than 10 minutes to get served. That's the average wait times, which means some people waited longer, some people waited shorter time, but on the average every customer was spending. So like you have total customers coming in, entering the waiting line is 54, so 54 times 11.29 minutes, that's the total time that all the customers in this 2-hour period wait, the total waiting time. So that's really high. Yeah. Right, so there's one more thing I want to present from Pro Model, which is this printout. Okay, so you can do a print and export model, and it will give you a text file of all the components arranged in this fashion. So it will give you the locations, what location, name, capacity, and so on, the entities, and processing. This is going to be a little confusing because you'll have one entry here and then the corresponding routing entries on this side, and then you'll have the next process and then the routing corresponding with that process, and then you have your arrivals, and then if you have any streams, and stream. So you go to file, print, then we have several options. Okay, what we want is export model text. Okay, so that's going to save here. So click yes, and you open it, and here it is. So you have the model in text form.